What's going on, guys? Matt Deeks here with another video. Appreciate you guys for dropping by. And we got a new weekly stratagem up, and it is termination. Now, the battlefield conditions are quite different. A couple battlefield I think all the battlefield conditions, we have not experienced any of them yet, unless I'm forgetting. But there's been quite a few weekly stratagems so far. And guys, I believe it's 15. It's today, week 15. There's been so many weekly stratagems, but this week, guys, it is a doozy. It is quite different and odd. It's an odd setup of battlefield conditions. You're going to want to play this smart, and there are certain classes and certain weapons that you're going to want to go in with. I was able to beat it, guys, oddly enough, on the first try. Usually takes me like 2 or 3 tries to beat these hard stratagems, I'll be honest with you guys, but honestly, this one was not too difficult if you play it right. Okay, so we're going to go into that in a second, guys, but before I get into that, don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, guys, and comment down below how many tries it took you and what you thought of this week's hard stratagem. All right, guys, with that being said, let's jump into it. All right, guys, so for the battlefield conditions on this week's hard stratagem, we have enemy sighted. So range kills restore armor based on enemy threat level. Okay, not melee kills, only ranged kills. Okay, and again, we will go into what class and what weapon will probably benefit you the most, and we'll make this hard stratagem as easy as possible for you guys. But number one, guys, enemy sighted. Okay, number two, we have maintain distance. So melee damage is greatly reduced, but range damage is increased. Okay, so this works really well with the first one. So enemy sighted, where enemy or range kills restore armor based on enemy threat level. So you can see here there's a theme of range damage. They're prioritizing more range damage versus melee damage. Again, we'll go into the classes and the weapons in a second, guys. But the last battlefield condition is split up. So when you maintain close proximity to squad members, armor and contested health restoration are disabled. So this is a little bit of a different one where I forget the name of the battlefield condition, but if you were close and maintained proximity to your squad members, armor and contested health restoration was enabled, and if you split up too far, it was disabled. So this is the exact opposite. So again, I'll say it again: when you maintain close proximity, your armor and contested health regeneration is actually disabled. Okay, so with that being said, we know the battlefield conditions. Let's get into the actual class setup and weapon setup, because guys, I'm telling you, there's a couple classes that will not benefit from this week's stratagem, and there are a couple classes, mainly 1 or 2, that will absolutely dominate this week. Okay, let's get into that right now. Now, I'm going to make my way over there rather than fast traveling. I'm just going to talk quickly. As you can see, guys, I use the Vanguard. I just finished up playing the stratagem, and I used the Vanguard. And honestly, it was probably not the smartest idea. I love Vanguard. I play the best with it. I enjoy it the most overall. But for this weekly stratagem, there were a few perks that I had on that I just wanted to try and test out, because I wanted to give you guys the best, most accurate information. So I wanted to test out a few perks so that I can give you guys exactly how certain battlefield conditions work. So quickly, guys, I did use the Vanguard. I used the Melter rifle. I used the bolt pistol, the heroic version, and I used the fencing chainsword. In terms of my perk tree, guys, I wanted to test out a few various perks and to see if the battlefield conditions where armor restoration is disabled, contested health is disabled, or you get armor based on kills. I wanted to test all that out for you guys. So in terms of a few perks here, if you are a Vanguard main or you have a perk in your perk tree, such as a bulwark where you pop your banner down and you get your full contested health back, or for Vanguard where you have unmatched zeal, or if you pop the signature perk adrenaline rush of melee kills of Majoris level or higher, restore 5%. Again, unmatched zeal is 30% on extremist or higher. These will not work if you are in close proximity to your teammates. So just keep that in mind. If you are going to be running a Vanguard as a main, yes, you could still pop these on, But just consider and keep in mind that if you have, a bunch of Majoris lined up and you want to really utilize Adrenaline Rush, it's not going to happen if you're in close proximity, or if you have an extremist or terminus level enemy lined up and you're near your teammates. And honestly, guys, the proximity is pretty big, so it's very rare. I actually encountered a few extremists and did not get this, and they were actually my teammates were actually pretty far from me, so I could not utilize this very well along with the adrenaline rush. So this is where you might want to switch things up a bit. You can do melee champion. Yeah, we're not going to be utilizing melee too much because we have a nerf on that, or you could be using something like inner fire, where all squad members can restore ability charge by 15% by performing finishers on Majoris level or higher, okay? This is not affected because if you remember the battlefield conditions, it does not say anything about ability restoration. It's only armor restoration and HP restoration, okay? So this should not be affected by it. So this is if you are running a Vanguard main. Now, for the signature perk, I would say you can run something like Emperor's Blessing, or if you want, you can use Tactical Prowess and go for an Executioner build. But I would say stay away from Adrenaline Rush and Unmatched Seal. Yeah, they might work once in a while if you are away from your teammates, but that doesn't really happen often, and you're not going to be utilizing the best perks for Vanguard. Okay, so with that being said, guys, let's jump into what I think is the second and third worst classes to go into this stratagem with, and then we'll go into at the end we'll go into the best class to go in with this in this stratagem. Okay, so I would say Bulwark. As much as I love Bulwark, it's one of my favorite classes. It's just not ideal. Your secondary weapon is going to be, because remember, we have our nerf on our melee weapon, and Bulwark is mainly a melee weapon focused class and build. So I would say unless you're really good with the plasma and you can get headshots on every single Minoris and Majoris, it just doesn't make sense, honestly, guys. And then when you're running a perk tree with Invigorating Icon or Rejuvenating Effect, like especially Invigorating Icon, guys, you're not going to be able to utilize the contested health regeneration on placing the banner. It's just not going to be possible. You're also not going to be able to utilize focused restoration because that's going to be disabled if you are in proximity to your teammates. And also this will not work as well. Armor reinforcements. Again, all the perks around armor regeneration, health regeneration will be disabled, guys. Disabled completely if you are in proximity to your teammates. So just keep that in mind. So again, you will have a lot of these perks basically pointless or useless or just disadvantageous. Like you won't be able to use them at all times, right? So you could obviously switch things up, maybe go with Steel Within, or you can go with defensive advantage. And then for this, you can go for Glory Shield. Let's see what Glory Shield. I don't use Glory Shield often. Yeah, Glory Shield would work, or you can go for this one as well for more damage. But again, the Bulwark is mainly a healing class. It's good for healing. It's good for rezzing. It's good for armor restoration, focused on melee attacks and melee damage. So honestly, everything, all the battlefield conditions is geared against the Bulwark. So I would say Bulwark, not a great class to go in with. Could you still beat this week HARD Stratagem on it? Absolutely, but it's probably not ideal, okay? And then as for, I would say, one of the, or another, disadvantageous class to go in with, I would say the Assault is one of them. Again, it's melee focused, and then in terms of healing, you already don't have a lot of healing factor within the built within the Assault class. So I would say, already you're going to be at a disadvantage because you won't be able to keep your armor up. This won't work. Yeah, you'll be a melee beast. You can really focus on melee attack by changing these up and changing a few other perks up. But honestly, guys, your melee is going to be reduced with the battlefield condition. That nerfs melee damage. So just keep that in mind, guys. So again, two of my favorite builds, Vanguard and Bulwark, probably not ideal for this week's HARD Stratagem. Now, before we get into what I think is the best class and weapons for this week's stratagem, I do have to say, guys, I know I just said, Vanguard, Bulwark, Assault will not work. I mean, I just proved myself wrong. I just used the Vanguard and I was able to beat it in one go. Keep in mind that when I play the Vanguard, I mainly utilize my primary ranged weapon. I don't use the chainsword and the melee weapon very often. The way I play the Vanguard is, I pop a melt a shot or pop a melt a rifle shot off, one or two shots, and then I'll quickly stay mobile. I'll roll, I'll jump back, I'll dodge, I'll throw a shot off, I'll dodge, throw a shot off, I'll roll. I'm constantly moving, I'm constantly utilizing the ranged weapon as opposed to the melee weapon. So for me, that first battlefield condition, or I believe it's first or second, where melee damage is nerfed, didn't really affect me too much. So again, like I say, you can go in with whatever you want, whatever you feel most comfortable with. It is not that difficult of a stratagem. So truthfully, if you're just going in to have fun, go in with whatever you want. But if you are going in to win, go in with the heavy. Okay, guys, in my opinion, the heavy is primarily ranged focused. Okay, so as you can see, there's no melee weapon, right? So you are at a complete advantage with the heavy. I love the multi-melta. However, you can use whatever you want. I love the heroic plasma incinerator. You can use the flamethrower, the pyre cannon, whatever you want, whatever you like, you go for it. You will have that ranged weapon buff with every single weapon the heavy carries. So with the perk tree, I would say in terms of healing factor, there aren't really too many perks that will be negated this week with the battlefield conditions. So I would say this is why I think heavy is probably the most ideal class. It focuses on ranged weaponry, so you have that buff with the battlefield conditions, and there are not many perks that will not work. So honestly, guys, in my opinion, a multi-melta, pyre cannon, or plasma incinerator heavy is your go-to for the easiest playthrough of this week's HARD Stratagem. Well, guys, that's it for this week. Hopefully you guys got some good information from this video. It is definitely an odd stratagem. Most of the battlefield conditions in the past have been, stay in close proximity to get, whatever, a buff or more armor or more health, whatever it might be, more damage. But this week's a little different. It's more advantageous to stay separated. So it's a little bit different than most other weeks and and other battlefield conditions. But with that being said, guys, if you found this video helpful, let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe. And if you want to support the channel a little further, you do not need to, but if you do want to support the channel a little further, consider becoming a channel member. We have a couple different tiers at a couple different price levels. Again, guys, no pressure. Simply, enjoying the video, sitting back and liking the video is more than enough for me. Okay, guys? With that being said, I'll see you in the next one.